Our next speaker is the mayor of Stockton, California, Michael Tubbs. Michael is the first African-American mayor of Stockton and the youngest mayor of a city with a population larger than 100,000 ever elected in American history. Mayor Tubbs is here to speak on the topic of universal basic income. Please welcome Mayor Michael Tubbs to the stage.
Thank you, Mayor Benjamin, for the kind introduction. Thank you, Mayor Walsh, for hosting. Good afternoon. My name is Michael Tubbs, and I'm not the intern. I'm the mayor of the city of Stockton, California. As mayor of my hometown, I've lived through a lot of the challenges that many of my constituents face, and I'm also fortunate to also represent what opportunity can mean when given to underserved communities. You see, Stockton is a city on the rise, but we have a lot of work to do. A quarter of our population lives under the poverty line. Our average annual salary is $15,000 below the country's. And like many of your cities, our cost of living is rising, and jobs are not providing residents with the economic stability and benefits that they once did. So while thinking about positioning Stockton and our economy for the future, I'm reminded of people like Louisa in my community, people that need the economy to work for them here and now. You see, Louisa is a school crossing guard and a playground monitor working at one of our local schools. She is a mother, and she works incredibly hard, and guess what? She still struggles to make ends meet. When we asked her what would she do with an additional $500 a month, she said it would put a little relief on my stress. You see, Louisa doesn't take simple things for granted. Making minimum wage, she can't even remember the last time she had a day off or has been able to take her children to the movies. And our communities are filled with folks like Louisa, who are working harder and harder only to fall further and further behind as rents and cost of living continues to rise while wages continue to remain stagnant. In Stockton, for example, 52% of all our jobs are minimum wage. And again, the median household income in our community is well below the national and state average at $46,000. And these statistics, coupled with the amount of effort I see in everyday Stocktonians are putting in to advance themselves, cause me to be unapologetic about the need to be bold about finding solutions to these issues. To that end, this year we launched the Stockton Economic Empowerment Demonstration, or SEED, the nation's first mayoral-led guaranteed income demonstration that will give a select number of families $500 a month for 18 months starting next year. We were able to partner with the Economic Security Project and the Gold Hirsch Foundation to raise an initial $1.5 million in private money for this demonstration, meaning in this iteration, no taxpayer dollars are being used. And this idea of a basic income or universal basic income, it's not a new one, but it's one that's old as this republic itself. You see, Thomas Paine talked about this in the Agrarian Revolution, and Dr. King, 50 years ago, right before his assassination, said that this nation, to abolish poverty, had to have a basic income paid at the national median income. And I'm incredibly excited for this demonstration because the eyes of the nation will be on Stockton, and we have an opportunity to show the resilience, resourcefulness, and the humanity of our residents. Louisa said it best when she said something as small as $500 a month would help put a relief on her stress, would help her relax a little bit. But Stockton is not a city, nor is it the only city that needs incremental political steps. The way our residents are struggling throughout this nation necessitates bold action. And that's why we're embracing several other policies that aim to get to the heart of the problems constituents face instead of minor interventions that may be less controversial, but only address symptomatic issues. And we know far too well there may be political gridlock in DC, but as mayors, we have the ability and the responsibility to bring meaningful change to our communities. In Stockton, having a successful basic income demonstration will be taking a bold step forward towards building a program that can be replicated across the country and hopefully make it to the national level one day as well. And yes, we are all politicians, so of course we have to be ready to address critiques of our proposals. Over the past 5 months, I've had conversations with luminaries like Governor Sarah Palin, luminaries like Chuck Woolery from Wheel of Fortune, I guess the Love Boat, about the merits of a basic income proposal. And a couple things keep coming up. The first is this idea that if you give people $500 a month, they will stop working. And when I hear that, I think of people like my single mother, who's the hardest working woman I know, who worked incredibly hard, and $500 a month wouldn't be enough for her to stop working. It would have allowed her to be a little less stressed, spend a little more time with her kids, and be able to save for a rainy day. And my mom is not alone. The data shows us that people keep working when you provide them with cash, and that they overwhelmingly put it to good use. We see this in recent research on Alaska from the Permanent Dividend Fund, as well as a basic income pilot underway in Canada. Additionally, we've had conversations with people about the idea of the dignity of work, that by giving people $500 a month, we're diminishing the dignity of work. And our response has been that, and I may be a little bit flippant in saying this, but I don't see anything incredibly dignified of working 12 hours a day, not seeing your families, commuting 3 hours to work, and still not being able to pay your bills. I would argue, again, that's more stressful and anxiety-producing than dignified. And I think providing people with an income floor actually allows people to live with dignity, with certainty that not luxuries, but necessities like lights, like bills, like housing, like transportation will be taken care of. Another popular retort we hear from folks is that, what will people do with the money? They'll use it on drugs, or they'll use it on bad things, or they'll use it to buy TVs. And again, the research tells us in studies done throughout this world that when you trust people to be the architects of their own lives, to be smart agents, they make good choices. Good things go up, bad things go down. Over the past month, we spent countless hours in community meetings, and I've heard no one say they would buy alcohol with the money. I've heard no one say they'll buy TVs, but I have heard parents say, I could afford childcare with $500 a month. I've heard folks say I could go to school and not have to work full time because I have enough money to pay for books. I've heard folks say they could spend $500 on transportation to get to work. I've heard a million reasons how people, middle-class people, lower middle-class people, and working poor people will utilize $500 a month, and none of it talks about drugs or TVs. So again, $500 a month is not meant to be a silver bullet. It's just meant to provide a much-needed financial cushion that too many of our residents just don't have. When you consider this fact, 1 out of every 2 Americans, so 1 out of every 2 people in your cities, can't afford one $400 emergency, it's not difficult to see the potential impact this money could have in providing a floor of economic stability. As mayors, I truly believe we are called to not only believe in the potential of our cities, but in the potential of the people who make them. The basic income demonstration in Stockton is a bet not on infrastructure. It's a bet not on the company to come save us, but it's a bet and an investment in the capacity and the ability of my constituents to save themselves. Thank you.